do number 2 with the amendments presented. Take it off.
What was that? Which is a long story. Chuck Fryer took care of it. No, okay.
Let's just go.
Pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry, to approve the minutes and the agenda. We will be moving to. All in favor, say aye. As amended.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Take a motion to open the public hearing for Holland Pork. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for Holland Pork LLC, modifying master matrix.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry, to open the public hearing for Holland Pork LLC, master matrix. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any comments?
Do we have any written comments?
No, this is just an amendment. They, in their original master matrix, they were supposed to plant trees and stuff like that, and they never did it. So they got in trouble by the DNR and had to redo their matrix. And that's why we're redoing this one. So.
And no one opposed it as far as I know, so.
Yeah, I talked to somebody that's approached him about it.
Yeah. All right, I'll take a motion to close it. So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion by Terry, second by Bill, to close the public hearing for Holland Pork. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Consider for approval request for funding of paramedic. Discussion.
I'm sorry. I didn't put on the agenda to approve the modified master matrix, and that needs to be done today.
Just a second.
No, not a problem. So we got to make a motion to amend and
To
Approve the amendment, yeah.
Approve the amended master matrix.
Yes.
yeah, we don't have to make a motion to put it on the agenda, do we?
Let's do it.
All right.
It's part of the subject.
I'll make a motion to approve the modified master matrix for Holland Pork LLC.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry, to approve the modification for Holland Pork LLC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we will go to paramedic.
Just wondering if you gentlemen had any more questions or any concerns or.
You're here. Yeah, okay.
I got city funding was approved last night for a third, up to $7,000. Total cost of the project right now, not including mileage, incidentals such as testing, uniforms, things like that, is coming in right at $20,000. So if the county's willing to go a third, it'd be between $6,500 and $7,000, depending on where the cost comes in.
What effect is this EMS that's in the legislature? How's that?
As far as,
Again, how's that going to affect us?
as far as being an essential service,
Yeah.
it's going to affect you big time. Like I had spoke before, the state is going to say if it becomes noted as an essential service, then it's probably going to get thrown back to the counties to develop a plan on how to implement and pay to cover your county or your area with 24/7 ambulance coverage.
What is that hasn't been passed yet, right?
Not that I know of, no.
So what is in the language right now? What would essential services mean? Paramedic?
Essential services would be EMS, ambulance service. It'd be the same as the county providing fire, police enforcement, and then they would also add EMS or medical services. Not necessarily ambulance, as far as I know. It's medical transport. So could be just about anything. And, you know, there's so much that goes into that, because once you figure that in, you start figuring essential services, and it gets to be a nightmare trying to figure it out. Plus, I don't think the state is going to want to take that on. That's why they're probably going to hand it back to you guys and say, you guys handle it. That's just my opinion on it, because right now the state is, you know, sitting with the budget deficit, so they weren't willing to make EMS an essential service when they had a budget surplus. It's going to be difficult to make it essential service when they have a deficit. But essential service, like right now, there is no law that says an ambulance has to respond to a 911 call. And making essential service, that'll tie into the law. You'll have to make sure that there is an ambulance service that is provided within your county, just the same way in all the small municipalities do for fire departments. You know, it's something that we're doing right now with the state calling essential services. You would probably be able to get more grants, more funding, things that the fire departments are able to get right now that EMS can't get. Fire departments can get way more grants and way more training funds than medical can.
What will define as ambulance service?
That I don't know. You know, it's in the course of legislation. It could be changed at the last minute. It could be that as a county, you're to provide 24-hour ambulance coverage, whether that's contracted out through another ambulance service that comes in, you pay them a base rate, they provide you ambulance service within your county, or you set aside tax dollars to fund the ambulance services that are already established, to make sure that there's a guarantee that there's going to be an ambulance service responding. You know, that times of low staffing or staffing issues, you can use that money to hire staffing to cover those ambulances.
But I guess level of ambulance service will first responders, I mean, what's going to be defined as a service? First responder, EMS or EMT, paramedic?
I would say it's going to be at a minimum with EMT transport. First responders can't transport, EMTs can transport, paramedics can transport. So again, I haven't read.
Change, because Northwood has always been first responder.
And Worth County does not have an ambulance service, so they don't transport.
Didn't they used to?
No.
Here, they didn't.
No.
Contract with Mason City.
Mason City, yep, they contract. You know, Lake Mills used to have Diamond Joe's. Mason City Fire has that contract, so Worth County will send Northwood first responders to the scene while they await Mason City Fire to show up at Diamond Joe's. But yeah, Worth County does not transport.
I know down in Wright County, didn't they pass where it is an essential service in the county?
They did it internally. They took it upon themselves to call it an essential service, and then I think there was a taxation set up, wasn't there?
That allows them to create a special levy for
Right.
that purpose.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what Hancock County does, special levy or special taxation, that every property owner in Hancock County pays in on this tax, whether they utilize a Hancock County service. You know, Forest City is part of that, part of Hancock County's area, but we don't get any of that tax money back. only their services within their county get tax dollars back on that.
I think they have to go to a referendum in August to.
I think that's how it was. I'd have to do more research to see if
I heard
that
it was an
taxation.
August referendum to create the levy ability.
But, and again, that doesn't, I talked with some of the members from the Hancock County area, that does not guarantee an ambulance is going to show up. All that guarantees is that there's going to be tax dollars collected, dispersed between those services, and that's going to help them defray their training costs, their equipment costs, and some training costs, or staffing costs. You know, if it comes down to, you know, you had mentioned a county EMS, county ambulance service, county paramedic type service, and it's going to go to a county service sooner or later. What I see working the best is county paramedic and utilizing all your local resources. Because that way, if you utilize Lake Mills and Buffalo Center, utilize their volunteer, it's going to be a lot cheaper, more efficient to run. Plus, it gives them a little bit of meat in the game. They feel, you know, they built this service up, they're proud of the service, they don't want the services taken away. So, as far as the county service, I could see it being implemented by just a paramedic, whether it be a county paramedic or an outside service that provides paramedic, but that's the way I would see a county service working. Again, it's just how many dollars you want to throw at it, what it's going to be, because ambulance services are not profitable. With the Medicare reimbursement, insurance reimbursements, the only way that they're staying in the black is by running a volunteer type service. But if it's going to be a county type service, you're probably looking a year in the making, trying to figure it all out, getting the referendums passed, figuring out a template of how it's going to work, where it's going to be stationed at. It's not a flip of the switch, we can do it tomorrow type of deal. So if that's something that's ever in the long term, you know, you're going to have to look at it a year down the road and start planning.
Well, that's the dilemma for me right now, anyway, the way I look at it is, how much money are we gonna put towards this? And do we, is a paramedic service for rural Iowa an essential service? I guess that's the way I look at it.
It's probably not essential, it's the best utilization of your resources. Because, yes, an EMT can load a patient in and transport, they can operate to a certain level, they can't give you any cardiac drugs, they can't do 12, they can do 12 lead, but they can't interpret. So a lot of the stuff that we do, you know, it's a rolling ER is what we are with paramedics. And if you were to spend the money for anything other, then you aren't utilizing your money to the best of its ability. You can load the patient, transport them. Yeah, you'll get them there just as well as you could put them in a backseat of a car and take them there yourself. EMTs are a vital necessity. They work well with paramedics. But as far as doing anything other than paramedic level, I think you're throwing your money away.
Explain that. In lieu of an EMT service, you mean?
Well, if you were to do, you're talking about spending the money and being essential, that could you just do an EMT service as essential versus a paramedic service? Was that your question?
Right.
Yes, you could. You most definitely can. But right now, from what I'm hearing, is the cost to hire an EMT is just a couple dollars an hour less than what it costs for a paramedic. So for those couple dollars, the added benefit of the medication, because look at the time transport. You know, you're up to an hour coming from certain places in the county to a trauma center or advanced cardiac center. So those advanced drugs that the paramedics can give, vital role in that. Trust me, we need EMTs just as bad as we need paramedics. But if you were to spend the dollars on it, I'd go right for the paramedic. Because you're getting the best bang for your buck.
That's assuming we have to hire EMTs.
It's coming there. It's
Oh, I
coming.
know it is.
Yeah, it's coming there.
Volunteers is.
And it's easier to train EMTs. The level of training is a lot less. You know, you can do 2 nights a week for probably 6 months and get EMT certification on that. But you know what? It's night and day difference. Again, EMTs are vital, but it's night and day difference what they can do as far as the scope of practice. You could do, being the best would be a critical care paramedic. In a couple years, you might see that as a minimum for out in the county, because they can do more skills yet. But right now, we can't get enough paramedics to look at a county paramedic service. We're either going to have to look at bumping up the pay, adding a lot more on to make it a county service. And to get the paramedics to even apply, you got to make it enticing financially, because it's a shortage, demand, supply.
Any questions?
But I would like an answer today, if possible, yes or no, because I have to move forward trying to figure out what I'm going to do next step. We have signed a temporary registration application down at DMAC just to hold our spot. And we have to open it up for applications, anybody that wants to apply for it. There's a lot of prereqs that are involved. Those would have to be met. And we have to get the contract set up so that they can start mid-August. Appreciate your time, guys. If you got any more questions, feel free to ask.
I think it's the value of the service. I mean, they're doing the best they can to try and operate within the budgets that they get, and when seconds and minutes can make the difference between life and death with getting some of these heart drugs and stuff like that, having to wait until you get all the way to Mason City or Britt or North or whatever, I wouldn't want to take that chance with my loved one. So, is there a better way? No, not one that I see right now. So
that's the way I look at it. Right now, we really don't have a lot of choice. It's going to take some time to reconfigure the way we do things. I think it's something we should probably look at, but I think we need to look at other counties, how they do it, what's successful, what's cost effective, what provides services.
Right, because we sent out an email to all the municipalities if anybody else has done this type of program before. And we only got back 2 responses, and no one has done a program like this. There's a couple other programs that are sitting well on staffing paramedics, but it's a lot more dollars. They pay them a lot more, and then they don't have the backup shifts. So, we're trying to make do with the dollars that we have and the staffing that we have and provide Winnebago County and the surrounding areas the most paramedics and advanced care that we can. And until something changes, the budgets change, things like that, where we could add more paramedics and do more county paramedic or add a whole nother county service on top of it.
I know you do some down in Hancock County.
Mm-hmm.
Have you talked to them at all, whether they'd be willing to put in some for it for their, I was gonna talk to Ron Swedish about it yesterday at a meeting where I forgot it.
I've asked before if I should go there and talk to them at budget time to see if we can get anything. They said it's been done in the past and haven't got any place with Hancock County. Basically because what I've heard now is that there's a taxation on the county, but they don't have to give that to us, so they're trying to make their own in-county services staffed and run. So they aren't looking at shifting money outside the county to make ours run, even though that
They're a citizen's benefit.
right. You know, Winnebago is in Hancock County, you know, so we get a lot of calls out of Winnebago, but still in city corporation limits, so it's kind of a gray area on how that works. But
Do we have to serve Hancock? If you
it's
get
kind of
called-
like the fire districts, you know, the fire districts set up, and I don't know if the fire districts, like say Forest City, if they get funding from the trustees at Hancock County. I don't think that they do, but, you know, they're part of, they serve Hancock County. Forest City Ambulance Service has served Hancock County as long as I can remember, and I've been on the service 24 years. It's just our territory, and it's not, you know, there's an ambulance service here, you draw a line 10 miles around, that's what they cover. The borders are really configured odd, and how they were set up, I have no clue.
When it comes to human life, you don't wanna
Right,
make them come all the way from Garner when you can get there
right.
10 minutes sooner, 15 minutes sooner.
But it always comes back to dollars, and if it's gonna put a burden on Winnebago County and Hancock is benefiting, you know, I mean,
Why don't you just tell them we'd be happy to take our top tier back, or their,
Oh, we tell them that all the time, that we will alleviate them of that burden. But, what percentage of your calls do you think go
Into Hancock County?
into Hancock?
I'd have to go and pull my records. I would say we're probably, and if you take Winnebago Industries out of the equation, because a lot of time they bring their patients to us, so that's basically considered Winnebago County call, I would say we're probably in the 15% range, somewhere on that neighborhood.
so that's a good chunk of change.
What's that?
That's a good chunk of change if you were to
Possibly.
charge them for it.
It's about $1,000 of the 7,000.
Well, or if you look at the whole cost of 20,000, it's about 3,000.
Yeah,
That's the way I look at it.
yeah, I guess that's true. Should look at this Winnebago County share, the whole share.
I guess I'd be willing to support, this is just my own feelings, I'd be willing to support up to 1/3, but I would like to see you come up with that documentation. Go to Hancock County for this one instance, not just your regular budget, but this one instance, and explain to them this percentage of it, and if they can put money towards it, then that'll lower our costs of this project.
And I'll even call them to
Yeah, I'd have no problem going there
I'll
and
be going to
speaking with
meeting
them.
with Ron tomorrow, so.
Sometimes it's easier to go, for them to swallow the pill for one capital project like this, if you call it that.
So what type of dollars would you be,
I guess my thought is if Forest City went to 7,000, we would go up to the 1/3, but if we can get Hancock to come in on it, that should lower our costs then.
would that lower Winnebago's cost or the cost of the overall project?
Well, they should, take 15% of the overall project, I would think, because their cities and counties should, even
So that would be a 5% savings to the three entities.
But would we just amend their current line item, or would we just try to bring it from somewhere else?
I would,
Probably not take it from there. I'd probably take it from a one-time item in 54, Department 54.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve up to $7,000 for 1/3 of the funding for the paramedics scholarship.
I'll second it.
Motion by Terry, second by Bill to approve the request for funding for paramedic up to $7,000. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen, and if you want to talk to Ron,
I'll talk to Ron, and, if I think that I need to, I'll come down talking to him. If he wants to, I'll even talk to the other two. So,
okay. Perfect. I appreciate your time, gentlemen. I think this will get us back up to full staff, hopefully for a while. It's not a problem that's going to go away. So again, if you're looking at county type service for in the future, look a year out, take that into budget consideration, referendums, because it's going to cost a lot of money to run that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think that's something that should be started on in the near future, so that we don't get into a situation like this where we have to make a decision either or.
And I agree. And who's that person going to be? I mean, you guys are going to have to appoint someone to start doing the legwork on that. So, that's all part of it. And whether that service is a spin-off of the Forest City Paramedics, or if it combines the Forest City Paramedics into one paramedic service. So, those are all things to consider, and yeah, you start getting a person that's going to start doing the legwork, so you have to appoint someone, and if you guys want me to do it, talk about it and then let me know. I can see if I can do that on my off time and start working something that through, but I'd be willing to help. EMS is near and dear to my heart for the county. Sooner or later, I'm going to be needing it, and I want good quality EMS within the county and the city, so.
Well, I can't believe that there's gonna be too many taxpaying citizens that are gonna be upset about the money being spent on this.
I agree.
At one time, we're all may need that service.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Thanks again.
Okay. So we're late there, Conrad. You're up.
I just thought I'd introduce myself. I'm new. Conrad Osland.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Who's your dad then?
Rick?
Rick. You married to Lori?
Yep.
I went to kindergarten in Frost.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. So, I can remember him, and then he worked at the elevator for years, and then one at Henderson and stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are really moving on.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I just started, so right now I'm just getting out and getting to know people and just introducing myself.
How long have you been on the job?
I just, about a month.
Oh, really?
About a month now, so yeah.
Libby Meyer just retired from the position because they're moving, so.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
We look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Is Eric in there?
I don't know.
Usually,
Yeah.
Perfect.
We will call number 8.
Hello.
Hi, Scott, we're ready for you.
Okay, I'll step up.
Yes, I don't know.
Well, number 9 would be pretty cut through.
Is that DD 311, is that supposed to just be DD 3 or
Well, it's 311,
3,
goes into,
311 or what is it? Sorry.
no, it's 11 under Sioux County.
Oh,
Sioux County.
oh,
But the 5 and 7 are ours.
5 and 7 are our last.
Right. Of that.
Morning.
83 is big.
Got these guys.
Must be the biggest one.
It's our westbound.
Morning.
Morning.
I just have one thing to note today. We have a bridge south of John Deere and Buffalo Center there, a couple miles it's pretty rough, and we've gotten some complaints on it over the years and been struggling to figure out the good cost-effective approach that will last a long time. And we signed a contract with Denko to do a little bit of deep soil stabilization and pressure grouting. So we'll be planning to work on that as soon as they can get a crew scheduled up here and try to smooth that bridge out.
What's pressure grouting?
And it's like a drill that goes in the ground 20-25 feet and has holes in it that they can pressure pump grout into the soil to kind of expand and stabilize the soil deep down, and hopefully that will kind of lift the slabs to the point where the ride is better.
That's the same procedure they use for basements, don't they?
Could be. This one is a little bit different than most. Like mud jacking is probably the more common term you hear, which in mud jacking they'll put it directly beneath the slab. This is deeper, and hopefully will keep the soil from moving around after the fact. I mean, if we just replace the approaches, which is very expensive, it could settle again and we'd have issues again. But bridge approaches around the whole country are tough to take care of because the bridge doesn't move and the soil does, so you always have that point where they meet together. And
It's getting to be a pretty good thump there on the.
yeah, and we've had some potholes there too to fix, so it's a combination of problems. I think we'll have to do a small concrete patch as well to get a complete solution. So we're working on that, and hopefully we can make an improvement there. That's all I got.
I had last night, somebody was mentioning, I think it's 410th a mile south of Thompson, going west, 2.5 miles west or so. The road is deteriorated pretty bad. Is that 410th?
410th, 2.5 miles west.
They indicate it's near the former Floyd Johnson acreage.
Okay.
That they said it needs rock pretty bad.
We'll take a look at it.
I suppose that's one of your areas that you're short a blade operator now.
Well, right now, we're not necessarily short blade operator yet until we shift things. Right now, we're short project guy, so that's a better or worse, whatever, but
That's been taken care of.
where, is it 80th?
80th and probably down by the Mill Road or whatever.
Mill Road, south, let's see, 80th, yeah. Let's see, 80th. Must be 380?
Let's see. No, 80. Or maybe it's 3. Or 480th, I bet.
North of town.
Because I thought, well, no, should be 380th because it's south of town. Yeah. Can't quite tell. I could ask him where it was at, but I just got sent a picture of it. I'm guessing he doesn't even know he did it.
Okay. Any other concerns?
That's all I have.
Ed, Bill?
Yeah,
Well, thank you, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Chris?
This is Chris.
Hi, Chris, we're ready for you.
Okay. Hi. Are we on just drainage matters?
Yeah.
Okay. Corey Cox called. He's got an issue with 84 the Main. And what I'd like to do is he usually uses the Matt Abrams out of Northwood. And he's done some looking at it. And we need to, in section 12, essentially where the main meets lat 15, come up to his fence line and replace all of it. So if it's okay with you, because it's in your district, Mike, I would like to call this Matt and see if he can get me a written estimate
Fine.
on how much it'll be.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do that.
What is the details on that again?
84 the Main. It's right north of Leland. It's in Newton 12.
Legendaries and
Oh, and I think,
So that's
because it's in both of you.
Okay. Say the first part again, you said 84?
80.
DD 84.
I thought you said 84 to me. Is this up in the Salmonson farm?
It's south of it, Corey Cox. It's right along the highway.
Yeah, but it's owned by Salmonson, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. That's right, through here, he's digging himself every so often, trying to figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah, that's that Matt Abrams has been doing that,
Oh,
and
okay.
Corey. Mhm.
I guess I don't have a problem with that, probably get
Okay.
quicker service that way. Just got a relationship with him.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the rest mine are on the.
Dave?
I got one, Mike, just real quick. Got a call from Dwayne Davids again yesterday. Sounds like he, for some reason, wants me involved in this tile problem up by rate there on DD
21.
21. Told him to contact you. Has he contacted you yet?
times. It's, we replaced the tile that was plugged with tree roots. We hooked it, the end of the county tile, right straight to the private tile. It was all flowing when the connections were made. His water just isn't gonna go down until the water is down in the corner by the blacktop there, by Klug House, by Rake. I think it's just, what needs to be done there is an improvement. The main tile just isn't big enough. His isn't gonna, even though he's got a slightly higher elevation, it runs into the bottom of the main, the lat does, it runs into the bottom of the main, so it's gotta fight the head pressure. And I look down the intake, down right before the lat gets into the main, and the water is higher than the tile. And you can just see this nice, slow churn, there's just more moisture. We've more than doubled the record snowfall for April. We've had a really wet May. it's just overwhelmed. He says that he's never seen it this way in 20 years, but I talked to other people that have said there has been this way in past years. And do I want it to work for him? Yes. But do I think any further exploration is going to solve the problem? No. There's only one thing that's going to solve the problem, and that is improvement. And if they want to, I said, if you can get all your neighbors to want to spend $1 million or better, that'll probably fix the problem.
Yeah. Sounds like that he thinks more investigation would help, or he thinks it's running but not running fast enough.
Yeah.
And I tell him, without a hydraulic model, I can't tell you anymore.
Yeah.
So
It would be nice to kind of, I can't remember what it has a pour, what do you call it? So the
Great.
drainage coefficient or whatever.
It's probably 8 or less.
Yeah, it was not a very good.
What district is that again?
21-8.
So I guess he's called me a couple times, and
Yeah.
I feel like he put me in the middle of it, but so just FYI.
Other than an improvement, I don't think it'll solve the problem. He thinks that there's a problem further to the west yet. I talked to Brian from Holland Contracting that did the work out there. And he says they connected the private tile right into the end of the main. And it was all flowing. It all went down at one point, and then it all came back again once we had all this moisture. And his turn is next. The water is just about down in that corner of this one. It's down the, it'll start draining this.
Probably real similar to the DD11 and that sub 1, lat 2. They're all the same way.
No, this is,
Overloaded.
you got guys uphill that have done a whole bunch of private tiling or pattern tiling, and not only do you have to wait for their low spots to go out, now you got to wait for their side hills to drain out too before your low ground is going to get taken care of.
I think I'm finding more that people aren't being very good neighbors. That they're just pattern tiling and they're not really caring about whose water ends up where.
Yeah, no, their water can in theory flow up out of a intake into someone else's field,
But they're well within their legal rights.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
Right.
And therefore, if the neighbors are all willing to do that, they should all be willing to be part of improvement, right? Oh, which I also told him if we do an improvement, it'd be a lot nicer for us for $5 or $6 a bushel.
True.
So,
I've just had a lot more landowners this year than normal with this problem.
yes, and
But there's been a lot of pattern tiling going on.
a lot of pattern tiling, a lot more moisture than normal.
And that's all I had for regular drinking.
Okay. Head wall repair for DD 3937.
Did you guys get the email from me? The information with the pictures?
I don't remember it. What day did you send that?
I got it May 17th from Tyler at Bolton Mink. There's a head wall that's severely damaged and they would like to replace it. Time and materials, they're guessing it's gonna be about $8,000, and that this estimate is on the high side, was what was in the email. So I need your approval if you guys.
So they come to the busted out?
Yeah, and we only have 17% of this district, so we'd only have 17% of the 8,000. Hancock County approved it yesterday.
It's obvious it needs repair. I'll make a motion to go ahead with further head wall repair work on DD 3937.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry to approve the head wall repair work on DD 3937. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of Commissioner's Report for DD 311, 5 and 7.
Did you guys look at it?
Yep.
And it's up to you if you want to approve it or not. Or if you want to make changes to it, or what you want to do.
As far as the changes go that
Gary wanted.
Gary wanted. I talked to several other people that are in that district, and they do not think that is quite repair. So, yeah, once again, all's not fair, but we're great ships. He's probably got a legitimate right. But right now, I can't say that I would want to make any changes.
So you can approve it as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the Commissioner's Report as presented for DD 311, Mod 5, and Mod 7.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry to approve the Commissioner's Report for DD 311, 5 and 7. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Reclass of DD 11 and appointment of engineer.
I would make a motion to appoint Jacobson Westergaard to the reclassification project of DD 11.
Sounds good.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You second that? Motion by Terry, second by me to approve the reclass of DD 11 and appoint the engineer of Jacob Westergaard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right.
Julie?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Before the end of the meeting, AJ, I'd like to converse with you briefly, or after the meeting, whatever. Don't escape me.
This is Denise.
Hi Denise, this is the supervisors. We're ready for Julie.
She's already on her way.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
She must be watching this on YouTube.
Get me warm and fuzzies.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
These are just 3 checks from the treasurer's office that have not been cashed. And we're just letting you know that we're gonna void them. It's been since June of 16 and April of 17.
Mm-hmm. Because it's coming. Been for his part of the
Stamped warrant.
stamp warrant or whatever for, they had to go back out and he wanted some damages for not getting it cleaned up right from the cleanout of 3137, is it? Or 3735.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the canceling of the old warrants as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Terry, second by Bill to approve the cancellation of all warrants presented. Our treasurer, Denise Wilson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Let's see what we can say.
Hi there. Sure. This is just the employment contract that I have since it's year to year. Mike has, I did 2 copies of it. One of them is marked up with red, the changes from last year, and the other one is, I assume, the one you'd want to sign. It's the same thing. I followed the raises that were recommended for the, I think, auditor and general courthouse staff. And there's 1 extra day of PTO that it was increased.
Is that kind of in line with our policy book?
It's kind of, the policy book is tiered in like 5-year increments, and I have done this year to year. So, but like it jumps like 5 days at the 5-year mark. But at least what I was.
So you're just looking at
it's very close. Yeah, it's very close. I don't know. It's not. I mean, it's not entirely apples to apples because it's just different. But you know, if that part is an issue, we can talk about that. Just let me know what concerns you have, and I can try to address them.
So it's the 1-year contract?
Yeah. That's my intent anyway, as long as I put the right dates on there.
Fine with me.
I'll make a motion to approve the employment contract as presented for review.
I'll second it. Motion by Terry, second by Wood. Nice job. You got it. Second by Gil to approve Eric Lewis employment contract. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
And Willie just voted gay.
It's ghost.
Every time we do that, we should make the rap the gavel.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we miss you, Willie.
And I should.
But it's not so much that, it's, I always purposely butcher names, people I know.
Oh boy.
Open forum.
How much would it cost to move a chair over there and put Willie's name right there so he doesn't feel so bad all the time?
Yeah.
Actually, this should be fixed, so there's not.
Well, it's 2 copies. This is the real one. Oh, this one, all right. Had to highlight it.
Do I need to stamp that approved? No, it's all the signatures on it, yeah.
Can you stamp that?
Oh,
Something, yeah.
She intended to, of course, the economic development industrial.
We already approved it, right? So
It's just received.
Just received?
Yeah, please.
And Melissa's other industrial meeting before sitting here today. She had pretty good input.
Thank you.
They're open forum? Oh, okay.
No, we can't put receipt on that. That's ours. We either approve it or just allow it to be as is. He's operating under us. Receipt would be for those who we have no control over.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have considered these.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, no, my apologies.
I just still got it in my hand.
I think they need to be stamped approved though.
Then we gotta make a motion.
I was gonna say there's no, it's not an action item.
Then I can put it on the agenda for next week, but I think they need to be something.
Well, they can be received at this point, but we haven't approved it. Unless it is.
That's up to you.
I don't think we've done it in the past, have we? Not all the time at all.
First, Scott?
It's part of his management of his department.
Well, we do approve full time, but,
Yeah.
we probably should. We get back up to, let's just back up to number 6, and we'll approve it if you want to.
All right. We're back to number 6 under Scott Miners. We'll discuss secondary road matters. He's presented us with the hiring of 2 seasonal workers, I believe, for the road department, summer help, Carter Hinken and Mitchell Crank. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Terry, seconded by Bill to approve the secondary road workers, temporary help. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Exposure.
Thank you.
You need adjourned.